in the modern world, most people think that the modern university, most people think the university originated from medieval Europe. They think of the University of Paris, Bologna, of course, a little later on, I think, around the same period, you have Oxford, Cambridge, and so on. Now, the form in which the university exists today, of course, did come from medieval Europe. But the medieval European universities themselves owe a lot to Muslim institutions. Very interesting example is the whole idea of degree giving. You know, in European languages, most European languages, the degree, I think, licence in French, and variations of that in Latin, derived from Latin, in Spanish and Portuguese and Italian, licence, permission, right? This is actually probably a translation of ijaza. Now, ijaza is the permission that a sheikh gives to his student or to his murid when he feels that the murid is ready to pass on the teachings. And that permission, that ijaza, is symbolized by the sheikh putting his turban or his cloak on the head or the body of the student. And this is probably the origin of the cap and gown ceremony in the, the modern university graduation ceremony. In fact, it has even been argued by some Orientalists that the full phrase, ijaza bihaqqa riwaya, permission to, giving permission of the right to transmit. Some of the Orientalists had speculated that that is the origin of the term baccalaureate, because it seems that according to Latin etymology, there isn't a root word for baccalaureate in Latin itself. Anyway, this was suggested by Alfred Guillaume many, many decades ago. So, and then we look at other aspects of the university, we find that there are many, concepts in the modern university that can be traced to Islamic origins. Now, one of the big differences between the early Islamic university and the medieval universities during the same period in Europe, in the medieval European universities, the degree was granted by the church, by the Pope. Whereas in the Muslim universities, the ijaza was given by the sheikh. What this meant was that the church could ban certain readings and certain teachings, as they did very often. There was no central authority that could do the same in the Muslim world, because the authority was with the sheikh. So you had a great deal of academic freedom in the Muslim institutions as compared to Europe. Of course, the situation is the reverse now, because now we have our universities are mainly state universities controlled by governments, and they decide on what can be taught and what cannot be taught. And the funny thing is, now, what in Malaysia, for example, what do they call the degree? University degree? Sijil, is it? Is a university degree called ijaza? Okay. What about in the Arab world? I think in the Arab world, they talk about husul ala shahada. Yeah. So, which, I think in Iran also it's not ijaza, shahada. So this is very interesting. The term licence or degree originates from the Muslims, but the Muslims have, due to historical amnesia, forgot about the origins, and then instead they use a modern term or some other term instead of the original ijaza, forgetting that licence itself comes from the Muslims. So this shows you the degree of our problem.